in order to be connected and engage that part of the brain, kids have to learn facial expressions, eye contact, tone of voice, what body language, the closed off body language versus the like open and listening body language. They need to experience that. And that doesn't happen by being on devices and playing video games. And when when we're not using that social engagement system enough and we're not connecting, it creates more anxiety and it creates more depression. And it's not natural for us to not be connected. And so these devices, when they're used too much, or we depend on them too much, or we're allowing our kids to use them too much, it's preventing them from getting the brain development that they need in order to function optimally in the ways that we want them to, right? And if you just think about empathy, right? If I look at you, if I walk up to you and I can see that you're really sad because you're kind of have your head hung low and your face is kind of down looking, my social engagement system turns on and I can tell by your facial expressions and your body language, oh, are you okay? What's happening? What do you need to talk, or do you need a hug? Are you all right? Okay, so then I'm expressing empathy because I have awareness of your facial expressions and your body language, and I know what you're communicating through those things. And so then I'm able to empathize with you and connect with you. But if I have spent too much time on my device as a child and I didn't have an opportunity to develop that part of the brain adequately, and I didn't learn enough about facial expressions and then how to respond when I see those types of facial expressions, then I walk up to you, I see that same thing, and now I'm like anxious because I don't know what to do, and like, wait, what's happening? What is she? I can't help her, right? And so then I'm going to move away. I'm going to disconnect from you. It's fantastic. I'm so grateful that you're doing this to bring awareness to the importance of connecting away from the devices, right? Because when we make it something big, like this is a gadget-free hour, everybody focus on this and do this, it's going to go beyond that hour because it's making people realize and pay attention to the fact that, oh yeah, this is important. And we have moved away from connection in our world, and we've moved toward being consumed by these devices. And then it causes people to maybe rethink how much connection they are making time for with their families and with their loved ones, and how much they're allowing themselves to kind of get lost in the use of those devices. And just some ideas about taking it beyond that hour, because I know some people are like, well, I don't know what to do. I need my phone. I just need it. I work from it. And that's how people get a hold of me. And that is true. But thinking of some ways that can work for you and your family to make sure that those devices are not taking over, I think is helpful. So here are some of the things that I do, and maybe you can share some of the things that you do. And I've developed these because I recognized that I would go to my phone to kind of reduce my anxiety. Like I'm feeling a little anxious. So, let me just distract myself on my phone and look at social media. And meanwhile, my kids are like, wanting my attention, but I'm dealing with my own anxiety by looking at my device. So I caught that and I had awareness around that, and I got clear, right? That awareness and then clarity. The clarity is, or what I'm clear about is that I don't want to be distracted from life all the time. I want to be involved. I want to be engaged. So then what are the tools for me to be able to do that, right? Okay, so one thing is we do not have devices sitting on the kitchen table ever. There are no devices whatsoever, not even sitting on the table. Devices are not allowed in the bedrooms. So the kids can't be up there because I don't want them to go get lost in their room on their device. When we are playing a game, like a board game or a card game, devices have to be away, like in the other room. so that I'm not checking my phone. And really, these have all been for me because these are the things I do. I'd be like, yeah, I'll play Uno with you. And then it's not my turn and I'm checking my phone and I'm going, wait a minute, what's the point of connecting with them when I'm still just using my phone? That doesn't feel good to them. They see that I'm not fully present. And then I'm sending them the message that this phone is more important to me than they are. And that is not the message I want to send to them. So when I'm with them playing a game, I'm with them, right? And I will be honest that I've been messing up a little bit on this lately, and I've been kind of allowing that phone to sneak in. So I'm glad we're talking about this because now I have some more accountability, right? I'm gonna have to get back on that. Another thing is I'm working on right now is when somebody talks to me, especially my husband, I'm usually kind of like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm trying to work on when somebody's talking to me, I literally will stop with my phone and look up and make eye contact every time. That's my goal. Because connection is more important to me than whatever's on that device. One thing that you can do anywhere that my kids really love is telling stories about them when they were little. So sharing memories together or talking about, oh, when you were a baby, you used to do this thing where you would be so tired, you'd put a cracker in your mouth and then you'd fall asleep with the food in your mouth. And, then they crack up and they think that's so funny and they want to hear more stories. So that's one thing that that I think everybody can do anywhere, in the car, in the restaurant, at home. Just talk about stories from your family. And when the kids were little, tell them the story about their birth. They love hearing things like that. Tell them about the silly things they did when they were babies. Another thing to do is like kids' activity like blowing bubbles. It's such a simple but very calming activity to blow bubbles, and then you're watching them and they're popping and the kids are trying to pop them. That's always a really fun one. Or going outside and tossing a ball around is just usually causes a lot of conversation to come up when we do that, right? You're just tossing the ball back and forth and all of a sudden the kids start talking. It's a great opportunity to engage in conversation. Card games, even just simple card games like Go Fish or any of those real easy ones that you can do with a plain deck of cards. War, do you guys have that card game War? Do you know how to play that? Is that a common one? So just things like that you only need a simple deck of cards for. Doing art together, even if it's just with pencils and paper, and say, okay, let's see who can draw or let's all draw an elephant. And we'll all look at each other's elephant, right? Or see if you can draw an elephant combined with a giraffe and tell me, and then we can see what we come up with. So you can use just simple things that you have around the house, and doing things like that really creates some great memories and connections.